What caught my attention was, you were going to be speaking about Agenda 2030. So can you tell us what kind of got you on the trail of researching about Agenda 2030, and explain to the people what that actually is, if you will?
Okay, well, it's a long time ago, and what people have to understand is that UN Agenda 21, UN Agenda 2030, 2050, and the World Economic Forum have been doing this a long time, and everything connects. There's nothing separate. And the reason I got turned on to it was because my grandson came home with Common Core math, and I'm a math person. So he said, Gamai, I need help with my homework, and I couldn't do it. So I started researching what the heck is this math? 2 + 2 is 4, not 5, just because you want it to feel like it's 5, and that's wrong. There's no such thing as right and wrong in Common Core math. It's whatever you feel. So when I started researching it, it goes back to Agenda 21. Common Core Standards is actually a program with Bill Gates and the Agenda 21 to go all over the world to teach every child the same exact thing at the same exact time. So I started with Agenda 21 and went through Common Core. Common Core was designed to dumb down our children. The SEL, or social emotional learning, part of that, again from the UN Agenda 21 and carried over to 2030, is designed to weaken the minds of our children by causing cognitive dissonance where they don't understand the difference between right and wrong. So we've been fighting Common Core for 15 years, and if a school system is accepting federal dollars, then you still have Common Core. I don't care what your people say, what your leadership says, what the governor says. If you are taking federal dollars, you have Common Core standards, because with those federal dollars brings the strings that you have to do certain things. And those certain things, I don't care what, if you call them college and career ready standards, if you call it Georgia standards, or whatever you want to call it, federal dollars are telling you you're teaching Common Core. So we got through, we've been fighting that. These states are not going to give up federal dollars. So after the Common Core piece came Obama in 2011 with the Strategic Innovation of the American Economy bill. So anytime you see innovation, it is Agenda 2030 straight out. Obama took the Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, put it in that bill. It is law. So anytime you see, I know you have Innovate Georgia, and all of the other boards and departments that are now changing zoning. So again, follow the money. That's my 3 favorite words. Money's coming down from the federal government to the states. The states are giving money to counties and local cities to implement all of these programs that are in that opportunity bill. And if you listen to the vice president when she was running for president, she would say, we're going to have an opportunity economy. And that's what she was talking about. So in the opportunity economy, you have housing credits for employers or developers to build low-cost multifamily housing in an area where an employer would be. So those are called innovation districts. And in Alabama, we have 7, but I looked up your innovation districts and y'all have 12. So in each innovation district, you have a board, you have a commission. The bureaucracy is outrageous. But they're building local, and this is what the federal exact wording comes from Agenda 2030. The exact words. So low cost federal multifamily federal housing with child care tax credits, which you also have, that go with that low income housing that's attached to what we call an anchor company or an anchor sector. And I think y'all have 6 sectors where Alabama actually has 8, because we have a big defense economic sector over here. So that's Agenda 2030 with the innovate and the housing and the you have what we call in Agenda 2030 and in World Economic Forum. And just stop me if I overload you, because I can go on for an hour.
No, here's what I want to ask as far as the multi family home. So,
yes,
because we're starting to hear up in here in county, I know one of these areas is up in here in Gwinnett County where we are, because I'm hearing, we're bringing, this is from the county chair, we're bringing affordable housing here. And I'm thinking, okay, we came out of a pandemic so many years ago, or whatever the case may be, and how are people able to buy these houses? You know, we walking past these things, it's like $400,000 or $500,000 house, and I just don't see how it's an explosion of people being able to do that with the economy that we went through. It's not making math sense. So give me the part, make this make sense for me money wise, from how the federal government is putting money into here. And what did these mortgages look like? I mean, $400,000 or $500,000 house. I mean, you're going to be knocking on a couple grand a month. How are people affording this stuff? How is it being offset is what I guess what I'm asking.
My daughter is a mortgage processor here in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And the federal government is basically paying for these people to live in these houses. And in Alabama, it's like 5 years, 7 years. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to track down exactly what Georgia's doing, but they received, the state of Alabama received $498 million for innovative housing and child care and sustainable companies for new companies to start up, and sustainable. That's Green New Deal. So the ARPA funds are exactly what is paying for all of this in Alabama, and I'm sure in Georgia. But then you have the workforce piece, where Obama in 2014 passed the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which takes all these people supposedly who can't afford or don't have a job and put them in employer housing and employer child care.
So break down, what does that look like? So we want the employer with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. They are putting people, I guess, who can't afford it in employer housing.
Yes. The employers are getting tax credits to build employer housing and pay for employee child care, because they can't afford it. It's basically the entire bill, and this is a word that was used in the past, is considered underdogma. Those people who are underdogs, who cannot afford housing, who cannot afford child care, are going to be taken care of by, and I know y'all have a Pathways education, where we in Alabama have a new Pathways education diploma, where they took out 2 years of math and 2 years of science, where they are teaching these people who supposedly are incapable of getting their own job because we can't educate them in a government school full of Common Core and social emotional learning, and pairing them with a company to teach them a specific job, give them housing, and give them child care. The next, you already have transportation, like what do you have? The MARTA?
Well, Marta is in Atlanta, and they are bent on trying to get this same thing up here in Gwinnett County, and the
Yeah.
people keep voting it down, and they just keep trying to find ways to put it in. There are literally, and this is no lie, there are buses. I've not seen, and I drive around doing different stuff for a living. I have not seen one of these big gigantic buses with more than 2 or 3 people on it at a time. Like since I've been seeing buses. The people don't want like the bus system up here in Gwinnett County. Keep trying to force it up here, and this, and I would guess this is to get their people around once they get all injected in here, and they trying to just kind of keep it on life support until people be like, oh, we need it now because there's just so many people here. But
it's part of the deal.
Yeah.
There were 3 things: housing, childcare, and transportation that have to be addressed in these bills. And so what they're doing is, and it is trying to cover all of these things for the people to make them dependent. The next part are going to be the R&Ds, which I think the research and development districts, which I know University of Georgia has one, and they just put one in Atlanta with the Delta people, where they're going to have housing, childcare. They're going to teach people jobs to work for Delta. That's what the Innovate Hub is considered. So they have to have the transportation piece. But then the next step is going to be 15-minute cities.
So let me ask you a question. So when people hear that, what you just said, it sounds like a great idea. Hey, we're going to build this out. We're going to bring people in. We're going to give them jobs. We might even give them a little education. So can you tell people what is problematic about it based on your knowledge set?
Well, here in Alabama, my favorite thing to say is if we educate people with a classical education, they can decide if they want to go to college or want to go into a trade such as electrician, plumber, or go that third track where you sign up with a company or a factory and they're going to teach you a job. If everybody had a classical education and we quit trying to brainwash and make these kids into good little socialists, then they can get their own jobs. But the government is basically deciding what your child is going to do, because if you look now at how they're tracking your child, okay, this child has enough sense, he's going to go to college. This child wants vocational education. There's nothing wrong with that. And this child doesn't have the ability to take care of himself, so we're going to put him over here in this factory or work for Delta, teach him this exact job, give him house, give him... that's a step this far from socialism and communism. And that's how they always do it. It's step by step by step. And you wake up one day and you don't have the freedom to leave within 15 minutes of where you live and work, just like in China. The whole surveillance thing, all these cameras they're putting in, that's part of it.
Yeah.
We will have facial identification, just like China.
So let's talk about the cameras real quick, and then we'll get to the ID, and I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Okay, so in our state, they've been putting up all of these flock cameras, right? Oh, we're going to find it. We're going to catch criminals. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I said very early on, because I asked one of my councilmen, I was like, what's going on with these cameras on the side of the road? We're going to catch crime. No. That's what we're being told that they're going to be for. But I believe that these things are going to be repurposed and used for just what you're talking about right now, because they can stop crime if they wanted to. If like the leadership, because the governors in states are the chief magistrates. Right? What does that mean? They're responsible for making sure that the laws are faithfully executed. So they're really, in my opinion, there's no such thing as a rogue DA, a rogue this person, that, because they all swore an oath to what? The Constitution, right? supreme law of the land. So at that point to where they're violating their oaths, there are things that governors can do when we just don't have to stand around and wait. Oh, we're going to wait the next election cycle and vote them out. No, I don't buy that. The governor has power, and it's his responsibility to do just like Trump is. Oh, you're not doing your job, you're fired. You're out of here. There's a way to do this. But everybody's drinking. A lot of people are drinking from the trough. And that's what's happening.
And they're one day they're going to wake up and it's going to be too late. So the 2020 election, they had to put Biden back in because Trump was disrupting the timeline. So the UN actually put out a statement: if we don't get it done, then our timeline for 2030 will not be obtainable. So then you come out with the World Economic Forum joining forces with the UN and doing their whole electric vehicles, all of the surveillance stuff, Soros putting in his people. And so President Trump has disrupted their timeline. Stopping the electric vehicles was very important simply for the surveillance part of it. And we're talking 2030. If you want to go read UN Agenda 2030, it's online. If you need to read Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, it's online. And it is, you can put them side by side and the wording is exactly the same. So it's Obama's people, Marxist and fascism. When the government and private enterprise owns the means of production, then we are no longer free. There's no such thing as free market capitalism. We will be in a stakeholder corporate economy where the people are cogs and nothing else. And that's where we're headed with Agenda 2030. And all of these traffic calming things that they're putting in the roundabouts, are they starting to put roundabouts in Georgia?
Yeah, they're putting them everywhere.
Yeah, straight from the UN. It is called traffic calming. They're specifically built for electric vehicles. So interrupting the electric vehicle is interrupting the 15-minute cities, which are, all you have to do is go step by step by step and watch what they're doing, not only to America, but to the entire world, because this is for the global economy.
Yeah, this is the global takeover. Yeah. Corporations. So, getting educated about it is step one, or one of the major steps. So what can and should people do next? I was talking with Clay about the importance of, election integrity, because this is how we get our players on the field. I know they tried to steal this last election, and it really was too big to rig. What worries me from this point on, if we're not able to get rid of these machines in Georgia and have the right governor in there next time, and not these rhinos and establishment people running our state, because they actually passed their own Green New Deal right here in Georgia. We've Republican legislature.
Yes.
And Trump gets in the way of their money in their deals, because it's money over the people. And that's why in my opinion, they don't like him. They're like, it's the gift and the curse of sovereignty in our states is, Donald Trump's doing great work. But the curse of that is our governor, he can mess up a lot of stuff. And if we get the wrong person in 2026, and this is what I've been preaching from the mountaintops, we will miss the golden age in Georgia, because this thing is about money, and people are going to get very uncomfortable. And, but we're going to have to stand up and do. And I don't know if you saw the thing that played out with Senator Colton Moore down here in the Georgia State Capitol, where he was arrested and thrown in jail. Did you see that encounter?
I didn't see that. Oh, no.
All right, so let me play this for you, and okay. We'll talk about it. You can play this.
The court is limited in probable cause by what the applicant offers. I also considered simple battery under 16.523. I don't find sufficient evidence of that the respondent intentionally made physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature with another person or intentionally causes physical harm to another. I also considered disorderly conduct under 16.1139 and simple assault under 16.520. I don't find sufficient probable cause for any of those offenses. In essence and in finality, I deny the application for a criminal warrant for any crime based on the evidence that was presented.
You were right about one thing, Kevin. I have been watching. Couldn't help myself watching, waiting, holding my breath. But I'm no puppeteer, Kevin. I don't make things happen. Doesn't work like that. Free will. It's like butterfly wings. Once touched, they never get off the ground. I only set the stage. You pull your own string. Who are you? Who am I? Who are you? Never lost a case. Why? Why do you think?
I know what you did. You set me up.
Who told you to pull out all the stops on Mr. Geddes? Who made that choice?
It's entrapment. You set me up.
And more yet, the direction you took.
You played me. It was a test. Your test.
And Colin, knowing he was guilty, seeing those pictures, what did you do? You put that lying bitch on the stand.
You brought me in. You put me there. You made her lie.
I don't do that, Kevin. What were my words to you? Maybe it was your time to lose. You didn't think so.
Lose? I don't lose. I win. I win. I'm a lawyer. That's my job. That's what I do.
I rest my case.
All right. So in the beginning of that video, that was the judge making a ruling. You heard the ruling. Hey, I don't see anything sufficient to say that you basically assaulted this man. So standing at the doorway was supposedly to be the general counsel for the Speaker of the House. So the senator that was trying to go in, which you saw him, he had his hands down, never raised his hands.
Right.
He had a duty and an obligation to be in that Senate chamber during the state of the state, the joint session. So back about a year and a half ago, there was a vote that was going to take place, and they were going to memorialize the late Speaker Ralston. Well, Speaker Ralston had delayed many people's cases and used his authority to delay people's cases that had been raped, and a lot of them never seen justice. So Senator Moore used his personal privilege, appointed privilege, to go on the floor and say a speech about why he would not support that particular resolution. So the late Speaker's family was in there, but they forced Senator Moore to have to say that speech in front of the family when he asked, could they have another meeting about it? But he thought it was important that he said why he did not want to vote for Speaker Ralston's name to be memorialized. And this stuff was all over the news about Speaker Ralston. There were all kinds of movements trying to get him to resign, which he never did. So they banned him from the House floor. Well, not they, but the Speaker said, hey, you can't come back in here. And he said, well, we signed a resolution that no congressperson can be barred from the House chambers while we're in session. So he said, I'll be there tomorrow, and I'm going to come in the House of Representatives during the state of the state. And you saw what happened just now. You saw the decision the judge made. And on top of that, a prominent attorney in the state of Georgia, whom a lot of people know, have a lot of respect for, guess who he defended? The Speaker's office. And so that's why I played the devil's advocate, but because I want people to understand, without integrity and people doing the right thing, we might as well just shred the Constitution up. I don't understand how somebody watched this, and we were down there. We covered the whole thing when the day unfolded on January the 16th. We don't see how a man stands on behalf and argues for somebody who did something like that. And on top of that, the general counsel for the Speaker's House, supposedly to be a general counsel, had not even taken the bar in Georgia, and we don't even know whether or not he's a real attorney or not. And he's running security that day. But they threw him on the floor because he stands for the Constitution. He stands against the establishment, and he wants to fight for the golden age. But I wanted you to see that so that you see what people are literally and physically going through right now to fight against this Agenda 2030, because this is what this is all about.
Yeah. So we have a situation here in Alabama that the Workforce Alabama had a big thing where the governor and the Democrats and the Republicans and the head of the BCA, which is the Chamber of Commerce in Alabama, did this great, I mean, it was a big banner and everything, to pass 7 bills, and they all had to do with the innovative workforce. It was WIOA, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, which the state gives tax dollars to private companies, private entities, which is unconstitutional in the state of Alabama. It's against the Alabama Constitution. Mm-hmm. And they tried to pass a constitutional amendment saying that they wanted to make this legal. Well, we found out about it and stopped the constitutional amendment. They gave the 7 bills to different legislators, made them put their names on it, pushing them through. We want these passed. One of them was 504 pages long. They did not have time to read them. They got 4 of them passed, and they are implementing these programs in Alabama because of one word: notwithstanding. Notwithstanding the fact that there's a law against us doing it, we're going to do it anyway. So we have things going on in Alabama that we know are unconstitutional, but we can't stop them because the entire legislature, Democrats, Republicans, Chamber of Commerce, big business, Regions Bank, Blue Cross Blue Shield, are behind it because of the money. Follow the money. Follow the business. It's going to be a stakeholder economy, not free market capitalism. And we must educate ourselves and stop these bills.
Yeah. Wow.
Because Georgia has them as well.
Oh, yeah, they do. The governor's biggest thing this time around was he wanted to have tort reform for the insurance companies. And I spoke with a constitutional lawyer. He hadn't gone through all the language of the bill, but he said, I can assure you that anytime tort reforms rolls in on behalf of what's going to be better for a corporation, the little guy is going to eventually get the end of the stick, no matter what they're saying to you right now.
Yeah, what the problem is they're giving these regions, these innovative regions, which you have 12, and making them corporations illegally and giving them the power of the government up to and including the power of eminent domain. That's why all the zoning is changing. That's why all the farmland is going. Our own governor took over a farm up in North Alabama and made it a solar farm in Alabama, which is positively ridiculous in North Alabama, so she could get that ARPA money.
Wow.
Yes. And we know it. And if anybody had enough money to take these people to court, then it would be ruled unconstitutional if we got a good judge.
Yeah.
But how are you going to fight the legislature, the governor, and every big business in Alabama?
Yep. And the judiciary. That's why I wanted to show you that video.
Yeah, and the judiciary. It's we the people have to kick these bums out. And I've been going around the state. I've got 3 speeches next week from one end of the state to the other. Focus on America in Huntsville's one of them, where we have to talk about who are your representatives that are voting for this stuff? Who's putting their names on this bill? Do they understand? Do they realize what's in those bills, or are they not reading them? Because that's a problem. They don't read the bill. They have no clue that they are taking away personal property rights, personal economic rights, and killing free market capitalism in our states.
Yeah, they are. I think it's a mixture of a few things. Not reading the bills. Some of them probably just don't care. I mean, I've seen Clay. I met Clay through the election integrity movement down here in the state of Georgia, and you know, they don't need to see another presentation as far as evidence and data. It's
Right.
like they got this thing that the one lady I had on earlier, Miss Denise, she said they had this code word called hot. Oh, that's too hot. You know, election integrity is too hot. I'm pretty sure planning and zoning. Oh, that's too hot. You want to talk about this innovative Georgia? That's too hot. But it boils down to, like you said, and we've got the chambers in the state, which is, in my view, you correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like our state version of Wall Street. This is
Exactly.
this is the money class. You know, this is they're manipulating the strings, and they'll fund a Democrat, they'll fund a Republican. They just want this agenda, because the insanity that's in behind this, Miss Ann, is it's like, once they force, okay, let's just say they get what they want, and it's like they're all going to kill everything that, you know, that the opportunity, not for everybody, but eventually it's all just going to implode. And it's like, what are we going to be living like in dirt fields? And then they'll have a palace or something for one time because the public has gone crazy. Their rights have been violated. They don't have any food to eat and water. And I know it's part of the thing that they want to execute a bunch of us and all of that other kind of stuff.
It's 2030 and 2050, and the World Economic Forum want to depopulate.
Depopulate. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Bill Gates, George Soros. I mean, you just go down the line. Trump is one man, and yes, God put him there. Heaven help us. I don't know how he made it, but he made it back, and he's going to slow it down. But he can't stop it unless we stop it.
Yeah.
On the local level, the county level, and the state. We have gubernatorial election coming up in 26, and Governor Ivey, who is the worst governor we have ever had, and I have yet to figure out why everybody in the nation likes her, because she's a dadgum Democrat with an R behind her name.
That's what happened to over here in Georgia. They're saying that Marty Kemp and her family is a big Democrat family, and maybe the Kemps too, I don't know, but that's what the word is on the street. You know, we're basically being governed by Democrats with a R by their name.
Yes. Our entire legislature, our Speaker of the House was a Democrat up until 2014. He has the worst the conservative voting record in the House, yet he was elected Speaker of the House of the Republican Party, because we have a Republican supermajority. So the Democrats are infiltrating our legislatures as Republicans, and then implementing basic socialism, Marxism, fascism, because they want to take over. The big business wants to take over our economy instead of free market capitalism. Yeah. And we have to stop it at the local level, because we're not going to be able to. Now, Trump says he's going to stop it. They did cut those ARPA funds coming in for workforce by 50%. So in Alabama, they came up with a bill this year for the Alabama Workforce Development Fund, where they're going to unabate abated taxes and put it in that fund. So somebody's going to be paying higher taxes.
I got it now, because, and the governor.
Y'all got one in Georgia? I haven't found that yet.
No, the governor, you know, he wanted a bigger budget, and we already supposed to have a $15 billion quote surplus, which is not, the government don't make any money, so that's the taxpayers' money. Exactly. So there's obviously something else off in the distance, and people have been trying to figure out, why in the world do you want to kick the budget up more when things will probably cool off under President Trump. A, B, we got a $15 billion surplus. So it's like, what are you doing, and letting stuff raise up more? Why haven't we gotten rid of property taxes? At least at minimum for the elderly, people have paid their houses off and they got to keep paying these taxes and stuff. It's completely, that's something that should be easy to do.
Right.
That should be easy, but it's not happening.
Because they got to have money to complete, innovate, and workforce.
Yeah.
And Trump's up there, he's going to start cutting it.
Yeah.
So the states will be taking over what the Agenda 2030 and the World Economic Forum won't done.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they're going to have to try to bleed us out
Yes.
to try to pull the money out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's the way it works.
Oh, man.
Oh, I could just talk for an hour. I have 4-inch binders full of information of the specific things that they're doing in Alabama. I know that y'all's Georgia Center of Commerce bringing in some new companies. Well, let's talk about those. The number 4, fungi regenerative. Harvest with nanotechnology, solar cycle. All of that is Green New Deal. All of that is part of Innovate.
So give me those again. Let me write them down because I'm going to be on with Roy Hambrick a little bit later on with Small Town Underground. So
how about if I text them to you?
yeah, text those to me.
I'll text those
Because
to
I've been taking notes. I took a long list of notes. I know you can't see that in focus, but the page is full pretty much. So, yeah. I'm going to have to set up and have you come back on again, Miss. I know you're busy, but I want to just go chapter by chapter on everything. You email me like a outline or something like that, and then we can pick 1 or 2 points. But the people need to really know what is going on here, and you're already at the tip of the spear with the work that you're doing. So we just gonna come and eat off that plate and try to get the public fed with the information.
All 50 states are doing this. It's just a matter of how deep in they want. Alabama has never seen a federal dollar that they didn't love. So they want all the federal dollars they can. It doesn't matter what they have to do to the people. They want those federal dollars.
They want that money. Because
That's right.
because the cash got to be in the system somewhere for them to go and recover it.
That's right.
And see, they passed a bill that was supposed to put a cap on taxes for school boards that have gotten out of control. Well, guess what the legislature do? They put an opt-out option. So what do you think the people that's been blowing the money? They're gonna opt out because they know that the money needs to be out there for it to be recovered, and for their Wall Street class, which is the chambers in the state, to be able to recover those funds. That's my theory.
Well, these block grants coming down for education. I was on a program the other day, and they said, "Well, what can we do with these?" Well, you have 2 options. That money can go through the legislature and go straight to the school systems, or the money can go to the Alabama State Board of Education, and you'll never see it again because all the nonprofits will get that money. The non-governmental organization or NGOs are getting rich with all of those federal dollars that should be being used by the teachers in the classroom.
Yeah, because I had been trying to wonder, we came through school. We didn't ever buy teacher printer paper and toilet papers. Like, we paying all these taxes and then they send you a list home. It's because they're stealing.
Yeah.
They're stealing the money.
To the non-governmental organizations that are charging millions of dollars to basically indoctrinate your children. And we get to pay it.
Yeah. All a part
That's all part of the Common Core, the Agenda 21. We have to have uneducated, weak-minded children in order for them to complete their plan.
Yep. The based, so they don't question anything. Depraved. That's why they take these pornographic images and things like that and put it in form, because it returns the mind back to the most base thing. And I was telling my wife, we're not really heading towards a post-industrial. They're turning us back with the depravity towards a tribal survival. What do they call that show? To where people be running around trying to survive and all that. The Hunger Games and all this other stuff that.
Well, I do call it Hunger Games, Alabama, because everybody's going to be put in a district, and you're going to have 15-minute places where you can go, just like was in Hunger Games. You couldn't go between districts. That's why I call it Hunger Games, Alabama.
And that's what they want.
That's what they want.
So
Get rid of the people. Go back to the feudal system.
Yeah.
Where the employer owns you.
Yeah. This is gonna be slavery for real.
Yeah.
If we allow it to happen. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Well, Ann, it's been a blast having you today. So what I'd like to do is give people your website, everything like that, the way they can get in touch with you, and we'll set up a time to have you back on for another show.
Okay. Well, I'm on X, Ann Eubank, ANNEUBANK.
368.
Yeah, 368.96. Easiest on Facebook, Ann Eubank. I'm on Telegraph. I'm on whatever else I'm on. Bunch of them. Telegraph. My name, message. You can message me if you want to get in touch with me. I'm easy to find.
All right. Well, it's been absolute pleasure. So much information. I mean, I got these notes, and man, I am telling you. I mean, that's probably even it. I know you got plenty more.
Binders.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And that's not counting all the Common Core. This is just strictly Innovate, which is the second step in the second of the three-legged stool.
Okay, so that's the second step. Okay.
Yep. Common Core was the first one. Innovate's the second one.
Okay.
And then the whole China 15-minute city surveillance, that's the third and final step.
Common Core is the first one. So they got have 3 strikes. Make your children dumb, and then implement all these things or whatever to send you closest toward socialism. And then the third step is you in jail.
Yep.
Basically. You're incarcerated mentally.
Prisoner camps. I figure my name's at the top of the list somewhere.
Hey, I might be somewhere too, because I did the Alex Jones show for an hour one time, so I'm pretty sure I'm on the list somewhere. But I
was in the movie with Alex Jones. He did Revelation: Dawn of a Global Government. If you haven't seen that movie, you need to go online and watch it, because I'm in there, and he is too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So how can I get a War Room Alabama? We need one over here.
Hey, you might be the person to start one. I'm hoping somebody put me out of business just in Georgia. I'm hoping somebody start one. I can go back to, doing some other stuff. But I think every state needs a war room. Yeah. They need a war room. It needs to be somebody that's well intended, and that's not trying to be the next Tucker Carlson, but that's doing. And if that happens, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it, because God will provide the increase to what he wants to expand. But somebody who's really doing it from their heart and trying to do the right thing to help people get the truth out. Yeah, we definitely need one in every state. I tell people, I say, God is making me do this. I have tried to stop. I've been doing this since 2009. And it's really tiring. It's like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I keep trying to quit, and he just bangs me on the head. No, you got to go do. It's a lot to do. I just do it until he tells me not to. Yep. But I get paid by no one, so no one has control of me except me. That's it. And the Lord will provide. He'll take care of us and everything like that. Yeah. But thank you for your work, and we'll set up a time to have you back. I'm so glad I saw the advertisement that Clay posted of you and reached out to him.
Anytime. You just give me and we'll work out our schedule.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds great. All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye. All right, guys, it's a wealth of information, Miss Ann Eubank. You know, we have so many people that are on the battlefield trying to just fight for the right thing. And we have to hold them up and support them when and where we can. This war is spiritual. You know, are we going to? Well, they're in the process of. We know what the Bible says as far as in the end times. There will be a one world government, everything like that. But here's my point. My point is we're supposed to fight for what is right, hold people accountable, right? And we're supposed to fight for the Constitution. We don't want to usher in a monarchy. We don't want to be like the Israelites was when they rejected God, basically. But this thing is going to take, when I say this thing, I mean the people that are supposed to be representatives for us, they're going to have a spine, integrity, and they're going to have to fight for the Constitution. And to be honest with you, quite frankly, if they're not willing to fight as hard as Senator Moore has, they need to go back and take a look in the mirror. And if that's who you support, maybe you need to take a look in the mirror too. All right, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. We will see you guys on the next one.
War Room, Gwinnett County, the people's voice, keeping you informed. War Room, Gwinnett County, the people's voice.